Hi crafters, welcome to the Roost. Today I'm going to share with you this unique kaleidoscope effect that you can create by just using a piece of scrap paper to make some lines on your card and then masking off with some simple post-it notes. So I'm using a couple different stamp sets for this. My main stamp set is Remarkable You stamp set, which has some rather large images, and then I'm also using the words, which you can also use words from the Remarkable You, but I wanted more of a so happy congrats type thing, so I'm using words from the Sunshine Sayings, which has a lot of different choice. So to start your card, this is actually on this particular one here that's already completed, I've used a Whisper White background. And for the one we're going to make now, I'm going to use a Very Vanilla just to show you not a lot of difference between them, but just a little bit. Now you just take a piece of scrap paper to begin with, and I like to start from one corner or the other. I'm going to say this is my top corner. Now you can either add a line or not, however you like to do it. I found that I like the distinction of taking a marker in whatever color you've chosen to make your lines in. And I'm doing this in Wild Wasabi because I'm using florals. I thought the green was a good color for the lines. And then I'm just going to sponge across this edge, as light or as dark as you care to get. And then just do your edges just a wee bit. You don't want them completely covered, or you know, well, maybe you do, but then you can go darker on the edges if you'd like it more, but I just did just a little bit. And then I'm going to do this one from the corner as well. Now you don't have to, you could go back and forth, you know, opposite directions, however you want to, kind of depending on what you choose to use for your stamps, how much room you want, you know, from your images to show. I'm going to do the next one this way. And each card is going to be a little bit different. Even if you had a room full of people all trying to make the same card, they're all going to look a little bit unique, which is one of the things I love about handmade cards. And then we're going to go from this way. And I think for this one, I might just do one. No, I'm going to do two. So we'll do a littler one here. Like I said, you can split them up, you know, it's kind of like broken mirrors, and they can be any random pieces that you choose to make. And then we'll do one more this way. So we're going to mask off the areas that we're not stamping on so that we don't get our images overlapped on there. Now I'm going to start with the big leaf from the Remarkable You. These are so cool. Now I'm going to pretend that the leaf is coming down from the top to begin with, you know, like a tree overhanging. I always have all these strange pictures in my mind when I start stamping. So now the really key part on this is to not get smudges on your images. You have to be really careful because those are now wet, and of course you're going to have wet ink here, so it's a good idea to give it a few seconds in between before you sticky another piece on or the same piece you've just used. So then we've got to do the top and the bottom here, because we don't want it to go on either of these sides. Okay, and now we're going to put the butterflies from the Papillion Potpourri, and I think I may have forgotten to mention at the beginning that I've used the butterflies in here. And we're just going to flutter them. captured my other butterfly. And we're just going to put him in here this way. There we go. Now if you want to make this a monochrome print, I would suggest using like a darker green, maybe artichoke or something, and then you wouldn't have to color anything beyond that, and just leave it as an all green card. But I wanted to make a little bit more color on this one. I tend to always be kind of a multicolored girl. I can never do a flower bed in one color either. You know, like somebody who does all red tulips, I just can't go there. I have to have some other colors in there. Okay, so now this is going to be our large flower, which is kind of one of the focal points. We're just going to kind of put this in here. It's such a gorgeous flower. This set is also awesome for sympathy cards. The Remarkable You, I like it for that. It's got the beautiful, oh gosh, what are they called? Lilies. Now for this section, we're just going to add some more leaves, because the leaves are great for background. If this was a broken mirror with some garden stuff, it would have lots of leaves in it. Just going to give some more leaves. Like I said, be careful when you're layering these. They get kind of gooey by the time you're done. And you can also end up with the ink on your fingers when you're pushing these post-it notes down. So you have to be careful that you don't have ink on your fingers and then touch your card. These are all things I've learned from experience, sad to say. Okay, so now we are going to find our lilies. And we're going to go ahead and put them in here. Now we're getting down to just our words down here. And now for my last one, you'll see I did So Happy For You. And that is the nice thing about this Sunshine Saying stamp set. It has just tons and tons of words. So I send a lot of birthday cards. So I am going to do a happy birthday on this one. And we shouldn't have to mask this off for the words just yet. Okay. I think this one, I am not going to add the little flowers to it because I don't have a lot of room there. So now my next step to complete this card is to take the watercolor pencils, which I love to work with and actually watercolor often, but on this card I'm just using them as colored pencils. So I'm going to start with the, and I'm doing this fairly bold, coloring it pretty heavy. Now if you wanted a lighter look or a watercolored look, you could certainly take your aqua painter and watercolor on this. Like I said, I actually am just going to use these straight for this particular card. I actually love coloring, and I don't usually buy any of the adult coloring books because I color on my cards to get my fix. Here we're on the edge of going into the next color, so we're going to do that light. Wherever it goes into our lines that we sponged on here, I'm going to make it a little bit lighter. Kind of blend it in.
Down here, so you can
Not to go over the lines. Oh my gosh, don't go over the lines. Because then you have to come up with some creative way to cover it up. I think I made my other one more of a swallowtail, but we're going to pretend this one's a monarch. And of course with these markers, the harder you push, the darker your color is going to get, and I hate coloring hard. My fingers just don't like it. So sometimes I will go over it multiple times to get it to the depth of color or the saturation that I want. I'm doing this flower in Rich Razzleberry. The other one that I showed you was actually done in Calypso Coral. I'm not sure about you, but I like to always try different combinations of things. And that way each card is a little bit unique. Because I think the cool thing about doing your own handmade greeting cards is that they are unique to each card, and they're all special. I don't like to stamp them out like they're just an assembly line, because that's not what I do this for. And then for the lilies, they tend to be just white. So unless you want to add a little bit of like pink or maybe some melon mambo in the center of them, I just do the stamens in yellow. But if you wanted to, you could take the, this is the Calypso, but you could also take the melon mambo and just really, really lightly, like right in the corner here, because sometimes they do have a hint of color in the centers, just to kind of give it a little shadow. So there's our focal point in our kaleidoscope created here. Now if you wanted to mat it on another piece, you certainly could, but I think it's pretty much oh gosh, what's the word for it? It's got enough there without, I think, any extra layers. So I would just add this right to my card base, just like this. But like I said, if you wanted to do just a narrow strip of black or darker green and do it on white, you certainly could. So there you go. In minutes you can have this fun card that looks like you worked really, really hard on it, but basically it's just drawing a few lines and the masking. Hope you enjoyed this. If you need to purchase any of these stamps, hop on over to my store. I'll have the link right below. And have a great day.